This is Peter Rutter from VFE Pedals, and I'm here with the second prototype of the stereo Klein Bottle. And I wanted to give you an update on the manufacturing process because this is real close to being ready for like full manufacturing, so let's get to it. This isn't a demo video, so I'm mostly going to be talking, but I will turn it on just because I know you want to hear a couple of things. First, the functions on the face of this all work like perfectly. The tapers feel great. The switching is quiet. The labeling is correct. There isn't like a volume jump when you switch to pre and post. Like, it works great. And so I'll get into now the couple of things I still have to iron out, and it's not a long list. So first is that it works great when you use all stereo, and it works great when you use all mono. But I'm realizing now, after having done this, that I use an identical connection logic on the inputs as the outputs, and they need to be different. And so I believe the outputs, like the sends and this main output, are fine, but the input and the returns need a different logic, and they're not operating as I would expect them to do when you go between stereo and mono. And mono here doesn't mean like all mono. Like, you can leave all the internal switches at stereo and use only mono here. What it means is I'm using a mono effect to connect to a stereo, to other stereo gear. The fun part about that is that I didn't know that that was an issue on the last one. I don't know how I missed it. I feel like I tested it pretty thoroughly, but I missed that. I didn't test that thoroughly enough. And so I had ordered all these jack boards. I had 250 of each jack board, the PCB for the input, output, and the loops. That's 750 circuit boards with the soldered components on it. The good news is, because I ordered the jacks separately, those didn't get soldered to them. And so if I have to redo it from scratch, it's $1,000-ish bucks, maybe even less. So it's not nothing. It sucks to make that kind of mistake, but it's also not like the deal breaker or the thing that's going to massively jack up the price that I have to charge. But then there's one thing that isn't that I'm actually not sure about and haven't had time to figure out. It could even just be the design's fine, and when I hand soldered one of the surface mount parts in this, but it's so weird to me because, well, I'll just play it for you. Okay. So there you go. You can hear it. This is a mono guitar, but you're hearing it on both sides because this is a TRS splitter, and it's going to the left and right channels. But as soon as I turn it into bypass, now I'm hearing it just out of this here. If it's in this here, it's really faint, but it's loud in this here, and that makes no sense because when I turn this on, this dry gets its input from the same thing that the bypass gets its input from. So how is the bypass not? So there must be something in this small section that is the bypass section that is not soldered or something. I got to track it down because it makes no sense why it would work when the dry signal is active and then when bypassed it doesn't work the same way. That has nothing to do with the input output jacks. So that's the one quirk that I don't currently have like a thought other than maybe I didn't solder something, or maybe there's a short somewhere or something like that I have to track down. But other than that, those are kind of the known issues. That's it. There's only another sort of like half issue. This MXR reverb is currently on a separate power supply because if I daisy chain it to this here, can you hear that? It's real faint. Let me press this and you'll hear the change. Okay, so it definitely makes some sort of whining when it's on the same daisy chain power supply, and as soon as it's on a separate one or isolated one, not a problem. Now, this is called heterodyning. It's when there's two oscillators that are oscillating in frequencies where the difference between those frequencies is in the audible range. And that's usually a clock frequency for some sort of digital chip, or in this case, there's a charge pump to take your 9 volt or whatever voltage you put in and create a negative rail. So it's operating on a positive and negative rail, which effectively doubles the clean headroom, allows you to work with more types of equipment, but also actually makes the circuit simpler and less crosstalk, because now your midline, the center in which all the signals are going around, isn't a virtual ground, it's a real ground. And so that eliminates some crosstalk and a lot of crosstalk. And so anyway, so that's what it's there for. It does accept up to 18 volts input, which would make it roughly 18 volts, positive, negative, and negative 18, which is getting close to what your actual mixer boards, analog mixer boards run on. So it can handle some studio level gear in that case. So anyway, that's the one sort of known quirk that if it's isolated on a separate power supply, it's not an issue. But the thing that I'm working on and that I'm going to add here is there's a trim pot that I added here that can change the clock frequency of this charge pump, but this thing has 2 charge pumps, and that's why I'm definitely going to put a trim pot here. But I'm also thinking about, I'm going to look, I think there might be a spot to put it right here for the charge pump on the other board, so you can actually have control over both. And my hope is in doing that would be you never have to touch them unless something happens, and then maybe you can tune out that heterodyning. The one thing I can't touch is the other pedal, and so if the issue is that the other pedal or the power supply or something is having an issue when all of these things are connected together daisy chain style, then I can't go redesign the power supply or the other pedal. You just have to isolate them. And that would be the solution in that case. But I'm going to try to get you every tool in my toolbox on my end, so that if there is some sort of heterodyning line, that you can try to take it out. And I'll make a video about it, especially if I can use it to solve this without having to isolate it. That'd be, that's kind of the goal. But I know at least now I can get it silent. So in the next week, my goal is to fix these 3 things: the jacks and the mono stereo bypass issues, those known issues. This one I'm pretty sure I have the known solution. I'm going to try to fix it on here. So these are things I'm going to do to this pedal to make sure that it fully works perfectly. And then there are some JST cable assemblies I'm going to finalize the ordering of. Some of them are known, like how these cables are going to come together and how I'm going to do it in the final production. The one that's an unknown is right now, it's hard to see, but there's a 2x8, 2 rows of 8 pins, 16 pin connector here with 16 separate wires that got soldered into the circuit board. And that's because it can't fit having 2 socket headers on both, on either end. So I have to solder in one side. So I'm going to see if I can have this made rather than 16 separate cables of 2 ribbon cables that are 8 wires each. Anyway, I'm still trying to figure that one out. Other than that, it's just about ordering those assemblies now that I know what length I want them and configuration and such. Okay, and then I've got to update the bill of materials so that I can order the correct parts and order the circuit boards and assemblies. I've got little notes for myself of the few changes I need to make to the circuit boards. It really is few. I'm going to start by ordering the white enclosures, and then I'll send out a survey to, actually I might send out a survey even before ordering the white enclosures. That survey might come real soon. And yeah, and I would love to order more different color knobs, but I probably won't have those in time, or at least in time for the first stuff. So I'm going to just run with what I have right now, and I'm going to wait to order those until I'm sure I have the funds to not make any compromises in the production schedule on this. Okay, and then I have packaging question mark, because I could use the same packaging this used, or I could get some custom made, printed, make it look really nice. And I'd like to do that, but I don't want to, again, sacrifice delays for box or costs. Now the pedal costs $10 more because the box is nicer. That's just, I don't know. Maybe other people like to do that, but I don't like to do that. I don't mind paying a couple bucks for a nicer box, but I don't want to pay a ton. And so, I mean, that's it. And then I'm off to the races. So here's what that practically means. If you ordered like the earliest bird that was April, I'm just not going to have what I need in time to build it during my spring break in early April, which means I'm unlikely to get what I need to start shipping anything in April. And that means that I'll miss my spring break window to manufacture, the most. So I'm right now, the earliest shipment I see some units coming out is in May, but I don't think I'll be able to do as big of a batch because again, there's no spring break in May. And so I'll get that started in May, but I won't probably be able to ship all of those first white only, like the earliest bird ones. That whole batch will take longer and it'll take till mid-June. And I'm hoping that I can go faster than that, but I don't want to promise something I cannot deliver on. And so that's where it's looking at right now. That only has a minor impact on the summer schedule because things are still on track to arrive before then, before my summer break. And so, having to manufacture some of these early bird ones, into June might delay things by a week from where it would have been otherwise, but should not have this major change. The main things that could contribute to further delays, for example, the custom pots, they're still not here. They should be around-ish this time, should be shipping, but I haven't heard from the manufacturer yet. I'll contact them, follow up. And then some of the other parts that I now need to order, now that this is all refined and designed, there can be delays with those. I know the charge pump chip, I need to buy 1,000 of them, and the one I want, there's only 500 in stock at one, and so I need to contact the vendor, see if they can combo different. Anyway, don't worry about it. I'm going to try to take care of that. And then one of the things that may change is that the price on the website may have to go up just because of some of the additional costs, especially with some of the new tariffs that are coming in. I've already paid $2,000 in tariffs, and that's not the end point. I'm not even halfway to what that total cost will be. So that'll be way more significant cost than if I have to reorder those jack boards. And yeah, I think that's it. I think that's the whole video. Thank you for your patience and your support through all this. You can pre-order this on the website. When this is ready, and I send a unit out for a demo, I probably won't send this one out. I'll send another one. This is something I want to do a special giveaway on because, one, it's just a really cool color. I don't know if it's hard to come up. This isn't great lighting. It's a really cool, red sparkle color. It's not really coming through in the light. And I put these really expensive switches that are really great for using by hand. They're just really soft and quiet. And so they're great for using by hand. If you wanted these, the whole set's probably $40 of switches, maybe more. It might be like 50. So that's why I'm not doing it on the production run. But if you wanted to pay me to go buy those, sure. They're not harder to work with when it comes to manufacturing. They're just more expensive to purchase. And I don't like the feel of them underfoot. Like on a foot, they're just too soft. But hand, they're great for by hand if you're on a tabletop. But I'll do a giveaway on this to help promote it once there's a demo and things are really starting to move and the wait time isn't as long, and try to get some more orders in so that I can order more colors of knobs and do this and that and try to expedite some of those extra things that I want to do as well. But thank you for your support, and I hope you enjoyed this update. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, bye.